Good morning, everybody. This is Dan Spots on behalf of the Dallas Area Chamber. Welcome to Chamber Community Affairs. Today is Thursday, April 2nd, and our guest this morning, Jacob Lillvik of Jacob, I hope I pronounced that right. Mid-Columbia Innovation Hub, Mid-Columbia Economic Development District, talking all about the Gorge Pitch Fest that's coming up and other things going on through the Innovation Hub. So before we turn this over to Jacob, I'm going to go around the table and we'll do organizational updates. Upper left-hand corner, I'll start with Trish, calling in from Alaska.
Good morning. I'm Trish Neal. I'm with Legal Shield. Have been a long time chamber member. Still have at least 1 foot in the community. I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Thank you, Trish. Corliss Marsh.
Morning, everyone. Corliss Marsh here with Habitat for Humanity, the library and the senior center, and the College Foundation. No updates this week.
Thank you, Corliss. Mike Wacker.
Good morning, everybody. I'm with Fort Dalles Museum and the Dalles Kiwanis Club. Fort Dalles is buses are starting to come. I believe it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And the also planning a Flag Day presentation, June 14th. It's going to reenact in 1907. There is a special Flag Day event held. A new flag was presented to the museum staff by veterans of the Civil War.
Wow.
It's going to involve the Boy Scouts. Cascade Singers going to come and sing some patriotic songs. Of course, we'll reenact to a degree the Flag Day ceremony. We're going to have a speaker from Troutdale, who's in charge of their museum. It's going to be I can't even see the date. Anyhow, it's not going to be till June.
But you mentioned June 14th, I think?
I believe it's June 14th or 15th. 14th, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
1907 presentation by Civil War vets. Wow. Grand Army of the Republic.
That's right.
That's awesome. I remember seeing
the Kiwanis Club is just starting to plan for the parade. You know, we line it up, so that's coming right up too.
Mike, if you'd be sure to get some detail in the chat box about that so we capture that as well. That is fantastic. Thank you. Philip Musher. Philip, I see you put a note in the chat already.
I did, yes. Just that I'll be working on my newsletter today. So if anybody has anything that you would like me to include, please email me. I'm with Sotheby's International Realty and don't have any other updates right now.
Thank you for doing that newsletter. It's a great way to keep informed on events, activities, things going on around. Really appreciate your taking the time on that one, Philip. It's a neat one. If you don't receive that, reach out, get on that list. It's a good way to keep up on what's going on. Commissioner Phil Brady.
Good morning, Phil Brady, Wasco County. A couple of things. One, the high school robotics team is doing excellent again, and they're going to be going to, I believe, to national competition, and they're set up a fundraiser. I'll find a link for it. It's on the D21 website, but I'll post a link in the chat here. My daughter started out in robotics when it started here, and now she's a mechanical engineer in Hood River. Dave Peters is a frequent person here on this face on the screen. And if you see him around town, wish him congratulations. He retired yesterday from Mid-Columbia Housing Authority after 29 years serving here. A lot of buildings have his signature on the plans to get those built. Yesterday was County Commission. A significant decision was made to go ahead with the county doing a purchase and lease agreement. Then this gives enough financial support for the Basalt Commons to proceed. So that's moving ahead. Personally, I was assuming it wasn't going to get to this point because I know how hard it is to get funding for large construction, but they made it to this point, and so that's a sign that they've got something going behind them.
Did that turn out to be a raucous meeting, Phil?
It was respectful meeting, not raucous at all. People present the points of view. A lot of issues such as parking are things that are city issues and had been decided already at city issues. The key points that come down to the county decision was, is there a public benefit to doing this? It's in order for the county to use public. We're not loaning money. We're buying the land. They will lease the land from us, and they have a right to purchase it within the 5 years. Otherwise, the lease will continue, and so the county is actually, it's an investment that can make money. It does have some risk. I'll also add that they took an extra step and went to BOLI and got a preliminary opinion that allowed them to move forward without prevailing wage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Was anything said about timeline, breaking ground?
They have a few more steps to go do. September was kicked around.
Wow,
This
amazing.
year. Yeah. Phil,
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to recall 114 units, something like that. I'm not sure. I know they increased it a little bit since I was working on that one, but that is a monumental step. That's great to know. Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
It'll
Yeah.
change housing a lot. We're also, as you recall, doing 76 units starting probably a year from now because it's for low-income housing on Chenoweth Loop Road. 130 units are under construction. You can see them on my campaign website, Vote Phil Brady. It's amazing what's going on in Hood River at Mariposa Village. And I just throw in, here's how expensive it is. We figure it's $600,000 per unit of low-income housing. Low-income housing is not cheap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never heard that figure. That's
It's amazing.
incredible. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Other updates, county updates? Okay, that's plenty right there. Thank you. Misa Olson.
Good morning. I'm Misa Olson with Vocational Rehabilitation. I'm one of their workforce and business coordinators. And as a WorkSource partner, I can help you with any recruitment needs you have, or I can be your local resource for any types of disability in the workplace questions that you might have. I know kind of navigating that is sometimes awkward, and so I can help with that. No updates.
All right. Thank you, Misa. Misa and everyone, if you'd like to put your contact information in chat, so we have that recording. Leslie Naramore. Morning, Leslie.
Good morning. Good morning, all. I'm Leslie Naramore. I'm the Executive Director of Mid-Columbia Community Action Council. And I had two things that I wanted to share this morning. The first is last week. Was that last week? I think so. The 24th was our last day for the Hood River Shelter for the season. And this season, so we were open for 4 months, we served 66 people. And 4 people found permanent housing, 2 people went to treatment, and 1 person reunited with their family. So we were pretty happy with those outcomes in 4 months. And we're working on a lot of things right now. So hopefully this will be the last year that we're seasonal at the Hood River Shelter. It's our goal to secure land and be able to operate year-round over there. And then the other thing that I wanted to share is we're going to be hosting Team Rubicon at the pallet shelters at the Gloria Center April 3rd through the 11th. And Team Rubicon is a volunteer organization that's made up of veterans that helps after disasters. So they're going to be working in the Rowena fire zone and doing tree cleanup on properties out there. So they'll be at the Gloria Center April 3rd through 11th. Because they're volunteers, they need the community to host them. So we're able to put them up at the pallet shelters. And if anybody wants to read more about that, Village of Rowena on Facebook has been doing quite a few updates about it.
Liz,
Thanks.
how many people from Team Rubicon will be here?
22.
Oh, large size. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Any other supports needed for those volunteers, Leslie?
Not that I'm aware of at this point, but I can be sure to let you know if I become aware of anything.
Great. Thank you, Leslie. Good updates. Salvador Tardes. Good morning, Salvador, Mid-Columbia Housing.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, coming through fine.
Perfect. Okay. I just want to make sure. We presented last week, so there was not much update besides the presentation that we provided. Currently still going through the program of trying to figure out everything in regards to starting up the home repair program, starting up the trying to find different avenues for down payment assistance. Phil touched up on the Mariposa Village and obviously the Chenoweth Loop apartments that we're currently working on. There will be we have applied for a Washington home repair program. We will know likely in between like June, July if we got approved for that one. So that is something new that is coming up to the area. Yeah, it's pretty much, besides that, there's not much else.
That's plenty. You're staying busy. And Commissioner Brady, you mentioned Dave Peters' retirement. Salvador, would you describe yourself as successor to Dave Peters? What's the role there?
I would say so. He was definitely my mentor. He was my boss for roughly around 3-4 years. He was honestly a great man. He was a family person. He was always cared about everybody, the little people, about anybody absolutely that needed assistance. He tried to do his best to help as much of people as he could. It was really sad to see him go, but I know it's well deserved that he retired. But yeah, the office is definitely not the same without him.
Salvador, you don't have to continue his tradition of dad jokes. It's okay if we have a break.
I don't think I'm quite there yet. I'm not at that age yet that I know that many dad jokes.
It's okay. Thank you, Salvador. We've joined by Casey. Casey, would you like to tune in? And if not, I'm going to turn it over to Jacob Anderson, City of the Dalles. Jacob, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Jacob Anderson, Economic Development Officer here at the City of the Dalles, also the agency manager for the Columbia Gateway Urban Renewal Agency. The update, I'm not sure if Phil touched on it, but the Basalt Commons project went in front of the county yesterday, and the Board of County Commissioners voted in favor of moving forward with the Basalt Commons project, where they will be buying the underlying land and leasing it back to them. So Basalt Commons is getting much closer to construction. All they really have left to do is get through the building permit process at the county and then finalize the bids for the construction. As we all know, we're in the midst of a war, so the price of everything is going up really fast, and contractors are budgeting that in. The cost of fuel and everything is going up at an amazing pace. So hopefully it doesn't create another gap, but as of right now, the project is still on the move. And with that, I'll turn it back over.
Jacob, Phil did mention that, but that was additional information there, and that's really, again, that was a watershed decision. Jake, anything on First Street? I see the construction underway there.
Construction is underway on First Street. We are moving along. We've had a couple of hiccups. One, they thought they found some shell middens, which is a word that you should never say in public because it throws in all sorts of archaeological issues. It was found that it was not a shell midden. It was just a pile of shells that were dumped. And then we had a water line break, and that water line break is still under investigation, but it flooded 1, 2, 3, 4 businesses there, and so we're cleaning that up. And luckily, it wasn't worse. It flowed for about an hour at 2,000 gallons a minute. It was a lot of water, but we're working through it. And there's always hiccups along the way in all construction projects. And when you're working on First Street, there's a lot of history there.
Was that old 19th century pipe?
No, it wasn't.
Something different. Okay.
No,
I
it
know
was
that was
something
one of
different.
goals was to.
We will be replacing that pipe. Yeah, there's a pipe in the ground that's underneath First Street that's over 100 years old that's still flowing water. Well, was still flowing water.
All right, keep up the good work. Mike, you have a question.
I actually forgot to mention something, probably the most important thing for me to mention.
Go ahead.
The talker at the Dallas Kiwanis Club today is the director of Mount Hood Kiwanis Camp, which serves young people with disabilities from not severe, with severe disabilities. It's been in existence a long time. It's an incredible institution. If you want to learn about a really neat place, be at Spookies at noon, and we'll buy you lunch.
That's today?
That's today.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank you. Let's get that in the chat box too. All right, everyone. I think I've gone around the table here. Casey, it looks like has dropped. So I'm going to turn this over to Jacob Lillvik right now. Jacob, you are a co-host. Take it away, sir. Oh, by the way, everyone, if you have questions, let's wait till the end of the presentation on that one, or put them in the chat box. I'll be monitoring the chat box.
Good morning, everybody. Can everyone see my shared screen?
Coming
Give me a
through
thumbs
just
up if
fine.
you can.
Yep,
Great.
that's fine.
So my name is Jacob Lillvik. I work with Mid-Columbia Economic Development District, also known as MCED. And more underneath that umbrella, I work for Mid-Columbia Innovation Hub. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the hub is doing under the MCED umbrella, kind of what we're about, what our efforts are. I know there's a few people in the chat that I think are aware, so I won't go too far in depth, but then talk a little bit about opportunities available to us with the upcoming Gorge Pitch Fest. So to start with, just a quick overview of what the hub is. Like I said, operating under Mid-Columbia Economic Development District. We're grant funded from Business Oregon. We are going into year 3. We'll be starting in July. We'll be a full year 3. We're funded for the biennium. It's part of Business Oregon's 10-year innovation project starting in 2021 to bring about innovation to Oregon. I mean, that's the most simple way of looking at it, I guess. Innovative businesses have high growth potential. They bring investor interest. They bring dollars from across the nation and across the world into our region. So it's an influx of economic activity. And so we're trying to figure out how to build a better business culture. A number of things have changed over the last couple of years. Announcing Tina Kotek's economic plan earlier this year, and so things are changing when it comes to innovation. But overall, our efforts are to highlight our region of the Columbia Gorge as a place where people from all over the nation and internationally should want to come and do business, while also supporting the businesses that are here, developing them. There are 10 regional hubs throughout Oregon. I think of them kind of like franchises. Every hub's a little bit different. Our hub certainly has different needs than the hub that represents the metro area of Clackamas, Washington, Multnomah County. So figuring out what the needs of our community are is the number one job for us, and then addressing them and identifying them. With that being said, the focus across the state is on innovation and traded sector. Depending on who you talk to, that can mean a variety of different things. Traded sector serves as a counterpoint to the service sector, whereas service sector is your pizza parlors, your massage therapists, your coffee shops, people who are circulating in the local economy. They're important, they're vital, we need them. But we also want traded sector. Those are businesses that create goods or services that are competitive at a national or international level. I would even say at a regional level. Those are the types of businesses that bring money into the economy, as opposed to just keeping it circulating within the local economy. But we are industry agnostic, so we're not just about tech or bioscience. We will help anybody that, if you can make a case that you're innovative in the traded sector, we're going to help you. I love this quote straight from the innovation plan. It's built on the central premise that the continued vitality of Oregon's economy and the state's high quality of life rests on the ability to encourage innovation. We want to be a place where people want to live. I think we've already checked that off of our boxes. And we want to make it easy for people to feel like they have connections to the resources they need to be successful. So that's a brief overview of what we do with the hub. We have a mission statement that's a little bit wordy, and I'll read through it and talk through it. It's basically what I just said. We want to empower innovators, business owners, and entrepreneurs by connecting them to vital local and statewide resources through networking, technical assistance, mentorship, and capital plan navigation. Our focus is on innovation in the traded sector, but the hub supports all small businesses with navigation services, consulting, networking, and technical assistance. That's our flexing with the overall goals of the state, while also maintaining our region is 55,000 people. Nothing compared to the, almost 1 million people in the Metro hub. We are the smallest hub of all of them. And so we really want to make sure we're responding to the needs of the people here. The more simple mission that I like to say is we want to make sure that no good idea falls through the cracks. And a little bit of explaining the gap. I know some of you from other walks of areas of my life, but some of you might know my former partner and I had a business called Rooted in the Gorge. It was a catering company that operated from about 2017 until 2022. Through owning that business and trying to grow and scale it, we were popular, we were successful. There was a pandemic, there was a newborn, but all that, one of the biggest things that really held us back through knowing how to grow was knowing how to grow. We were so busy doing the work of that business that it was really hard to identify how we wanted to scale, the proper way of doing it. And so for a number of reasons, we got to a place of diminishing returns. We started to plateau. It became more work, and we didn't know how to get to the next step. And so we stopped operating in 2022. So the hub is built with that background. We want to help people cross that chasm as they start to scale their business, as they grow their operations. We want to make sure that businesses all over the board, especially innovative traded business, have what they need to be successful. And we build that on 3 pillars. And we have a clever alliteration in our official plan, but we talk about visibility, access, and community. When we say visibility, we want to create awareness that the Gorge is a place where ideas belong. When we talk about access, we create pathways to resources that people may not find on their own. And community, we create a place for entrepreneurs to find inspiration from each other. So I'll start talking about visibility. I've mentioned this before, and you don't have to actually raise your hands, but I would imagine that a lot of people here know that MCED exists. To Leslie's credit, sometimes we get confused with MCAC. There are a lot of acronyms throughout the Gorge that people can be a little bit confused with, but I can't tell you how many people I talk to know that MCED's a thing. They'll struggle through the pronunciation of the acronym. They'll defer to Mid-Columbia something, and you really can't definitively say what MCED does, what economic development is or does. And so first and foremost, we aim to be a visible component of MCED services and greater economic development. Understanding that the state and the region, there are a number of no-cost resources that small businesses and entrepreneurs can make use of. But you don't know what you don't know. So we try to be a little bit of evangelists to go out and talk about what we do. We also create access in ways that people may not otherwise be able to access some of those resources. Story I like to talk about: when I first started this job and was trying to figure out how I can be influential and connect with people, I posted something on Facebook that said, "What would you do with $10,000?" And I got a lot of kind of silly responses, build a bar underneath my basement, things like that. But I had one individual from the Dalles talk about an idea he had for a drone company. When I say drone company, he had his private drone pilot license, and he had developed some software that analyzes fruit orchards, especially some of the large orchards in the area. It can identify heat signatures, soil health temperatures, water flow, and it can assist with orchardists to be able to identify more quickly than a human chart maker could go around and figure out where all these samples are. You could have this data in a couple of hours instead of a few days. And it sounded like he was onto something. And he's not a person that was necessarily plugged in with a community, didn't have a lot of access. And being able to create pathways for him is one of my great joys in the early days of this work, of being able to help him build his business, to connect to some funding through one of McKed's loan programs, and grow his business. It enabled him to get another drone, to hire another employee, and create real business throughout our region. And it's orchards, and I have a special place in my heart for anything that's adjacent to agriculture and the technical industries. Through some of this access, especially access to capital, since July 2024, the hub's been connected with unlocking $789,000 of capital into our region through a few different means. The primary source is through McKed loan funds. For those of you who don't know, McKed has a wealth of different funds, investment funds, and debt-based funding that is non-traditional for businesses who might not otherwise qualify for loans from a bank. We can help out to put together a capital stack, different sources of funding to get what you need done. We have a very high approval rate, somewhere in the high 90s, largely because we work with you to figure out what is going to work for you, for your business, and how you want to do that. Another avenue is through Pitch Fest prizes. We gave out $21,000 to 5 finalists last year. We'll hear a little bit more about that in a bit. But that is all through sponsorship dollars that go directly to the 5 finalists on the Pitch Fest event. And through our network of angel introductions, we've also connected to $500,000 in angel investment capital to companies in the Gorge. But more than that, we also create community. It's great having something like community affairs here, what the Dallas Chamber does every week, month, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then monthly meetings as well. But we really find it impactful to we create a vision where there's a high value monthly networking that happens consistently on every second Thursday in Hood River in the ruins, where we host a panel conversation. We've had some really great conversations this year on starting a business, on how to use AI in your business. In March, we had a wonderful panel for women-led businesses throughout the Gorge. This year, we're actually talking about investment. So if you're available on April 9th at the ruins in Hood River at 5:30, we would welcome you to come out. But we also do this through our Pitch Fest competition. You can see a little picture on the bottom there. 2025, we had, I think, 140 attendees to the event, 29 applying businesses to the Pitch Fest. And like I said, 5 finalists with $21,000 of non-dilutive funds given out. You can see some of the businesses here. Antelope Base Camp, if you aren't familiar, put that down, write them on your list. There's an entrepreneur in Antelope who is her husband's a 5th generation postmaster, and she's looking around the community of Antelope, Oregon, and all they have is Rajanishi memorabilia and no jobs and not a lot of vitality since the center market closed a few years back. It used to be a bustling hub of business and interaction in their small community, and after it went defunct, everything in the community kind of died with it. And so she's been building a market and an RV park that has already garnered some attraction from the Oregonian. She has been consistently sold out through weekends. Antelope is designated as an international dark skies community, so it's gained some influence from astronomy clubs throughout the nation. Really cool things there. Google it. I won't spend too much time on it. She won last year. She's really awesome. But I find a lot of joy in highlighting these businesses that work really hard, that are passionate in our community and their businesses, to be able to create something, to bring something, to tell us about it, and then figure out how to connect them to funding. And so we're gearing up for our Pitch Fest this year. It's happening on Thursday, May 28th. In the chat, I dropped a bunch of links. There's a QR code here. You're welcome to grab that. That'll take you to our Eventbrite. The event is free. We feed you. Last year we had Lake Taco. We might be doing someone different here. We might be sticking to a Gorge taqueria. So if you have some suggestions, I'm open to your favorite taqueria. But we'll be feeding everybody down to the Granada on Thursday, May 28th. I want to talk a little bit about just the structure of what we've created in the Pitch Fest. This is our 4th year. We're trying to iterate and make it a little bit better every year. We open applications on March 17th. In the chat, you can click a link and you can go to our website and you can see what the application form is. It's a Google form that walks you through 8 different criteria that we're looking for to hear about your business, to hear how you understand your business, what the industry problem you have is, what your business's unique solution to it is, how you make money, who your team is, things like that that you would find in a typical business plan. We like a good story, so a good story always helps because we really want to know. One of the questions that you might not find in a traditional business plan is impact. We want to know what impact $10,000 is going to have on your business and the community. If it's to pay off some debt, that's less of a compelling story than we're going to create jobs, we're going to provide high school workers with interning opportunities, things like that. So applications open on 17th, and we had our first information session on March 20th. That's something new we added this year to make sure there's alignment. There's a lot of people I talk to offhandedly that are like, I didn't really know if the Pitch Fest was for me, if my business was right for it. I had some questions on the application and I just decided not to do it. We want to eliminate that as much as possible. So we have 2 information sessions. Even though one already happened, another one's coming up next week on April 8th, which is a Friday. We'd love to have anyone who's interested join that. Applications will close on the 17th, and that'll give our committee about 2 weeks to look through it, grade everything on a rubric, meet together. There's a committee of about 7 or 8 people, individuals from throughout the Dalles, to go through, have a conversation. If there are tiebreakers that need to be made, but there's a rubric that we go through that evaluates what we're looking for and selects them, and then they're announced on May 1st. Over the next few weeks, those selected finalists are connected with the Access to Capital team through the Small Business Development Center. And we give them pitch coaching. I think some people might be scared off, like, I don't want to talk in front of people. I don't know how to put together a slideshow or pitch deck, anything like that. We say, hey, don't worry about that. We're going to help you build that with you to make sure it's a compelling story, that you highlight what needs to be highlighted, and help put your best foot forward. Then we have a technical walkthrough on May 27th to make sure slides work, kind of give everyone a quick overview of what it's like to be on the stage. Some people had never been on a stage before. And then a live event with a live panel of judges on May 28th. So things that I would love to have help from this community are threefold. Number one, sponsor. You can see, you can click on the sponsorship opportunities link that I dropped in the chat. We are still looking for sponsorships. 100% of sponsorships go directly to this businesses. We don't collect anything in addition to it. It's grant funded through Business Oregon. So thank you to the team at Business Oregon for choosing to provide this event and put it on to grow this community. But a bigger prize pool means more interest for the finalists. And I think we get bigger and better companies that can go through here. So if you're interested, there are a number of sponsorship perks as well, including featuring a speech at the event and feature on our website, going out to our subscriber list of over 1,700 people. We'd love to have you as a featured sponsor. Secondly, tell a friend. If you're a business owner in this group, we would love for you to apply if it's something that you feel is a good fit. But there's a very good chance that you know somebody who's maybe looking for some ways to grow their business. Maybe they have a good idea. They're just budding. They're just starting. Would love you to tell them about the Pitch Fest and send them to me if they have further questions, or invite them to join our information session. And then third, and finally, I think this is true of everyone in this chat, attend on May 28th. You can click on the link that I dropped and attend. Again, no cost to attend. It's a great community building, even if you're like, I don't care about investment all that much, or maybe you love watching Shark Tank every night and you want to see what it's like with some local people. It's a really fun time to feel inspired and hear about the really amazing things that are happening in our community. And so if you have any questions, please contact me. I did drop my email in the list as well. I'm always open. You can reach out, and love to help you. So yeah, thank you guys so much for giving me the time, and happy to take any questions that anyone has.
Jacob, that's fascinating. I have a few, but I'm going to turn it over to the group here first. And Phil, I think you mentioned something about a visual.
Yeah, the project down in Antelope is coming well. I'm going to share a photo here.
It's coming in now. There we go.
This is the cafe in Antelope. Just this photo was taken just last fall. They were Brandy McNamee is using some of the funding to replace the roof, and as they replaced the roof, they also took there was plywood over the front of the roof, revealing the Rajneeshi title for the restaurant. So she's bringing it back as a cafe and a little community convenience store. Off to the far left of the corner, you can see where my arrow is here. Those are toilet facilities, and just behind it, the little shelter there. She has 10 shelters that came from. They were the last of the Rajneeshi shelters. So she's developing this as a RV park, night sky opportunities. There's weekends that it fills up with people coming from Portland to take advantage of the night skies. And then also motorcycle riders, bicyclists. It's part of the, there's a trail that goes through Antelope for cyclists.
Wow. That's a blast from the past. And we always assume that everybody knows what Rajneeshpuram was and all of that. Just in case anybody doesn't, check out Wild Wild Country, and you will learn a whole lot more.
I've been threatening the other commissioner candidates to be careful. They could come back, and they'll have to.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Questions for Jacob? Mid-Columbia Innovation Hub, Gorge Pitch Fest. Jacob, I'll start off with one, and I saw the reference in one of the slides, and I think I saw Greg Price actually on stage there. So that coordination with Small Business Development Center, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that we were very careful about in the early days, we don't want to be duplicative. We want to help be the hub that can be then spoke out to other resources in the Gorge. And that's where the visibility campaign comes in. For people who don't know the acronym SBDCs, which I say probably every day, Small Business Development Center, being able to talk and refer people to the Small Business Development Center to grow their business. They have a variety of no-cost or low-cost classes. You can build a business plan with one of the advisors there. But we work very closely with the SBDC to really refer. There's a number of reasons for that, but we've taken on a mentality where, I hate this word, I'm going to say it once and then I hopefully won't say it again this meeting, but foster the ecosystem of the DAOs of how we work collaboratively together, where we want everybody to win. So people know what the SBDC does, people know what the hub does. I refer probably 90% of the people that I talk to the Small Business Development Center. If you don't have a business plan, that's usually step one. And instead of taking my time to develop that with you, I say, hey, we have a wonderful team who does this every day. let's refer you to them, get that started, and then we can continue going with the next step. You don't have to have a business plan, but it certainly helps, especially when you start looking for funding for banks or for any of our other non-traditional financial resources.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Other questions for Jacob? Well, I'll keep on rolling then, but folks don't be afraid to join in here. Jacob, kind of a related question on SBDC, and this could be a tough one, I think, because you have Business Oregon funding, but we're a bi-state region. MCED is a bi-state organization. To what extent can you cross the river in terms of bringing in businesses on the Washington side or having that bi-state strategy approach? Does Business Oregon let you push the envelope there?
Yeah, we've had some really good conversations about that, and it's interesting. Even though it's funded like Business Oregon, I think we have been convincing to say that the Gorge operates differently. In some ways, the same. The metro area serves Vancouver and Southwest Washington in the same way that places like Bingen, White Salmon, even Goldendale don't have as much support as a statewide level. There's more in common that we have with the Gorge than they might have, with Spokane or Seattle or Tacoma. And so we have kind of said, we're not going to put all of our eggs in the Washington basket because we're funded from Oregon. Thank you very much. But we're also not saying no. So I meet with businesses in Washington all the time. SBDC has a little different reportables because there is a Washington SBDC as well. The innovation hubs don't exist in the same way in Washington. And so if there's a Washington business, we're going to refer to Oregon resources, Oregon funding. We're going to encourage, maybe you want to open up your LLC and establish in Oregon, but we want our region to be successful, and that includes either side of the river. So there's some understanding. We play a little loose with it. A number of our reportables will be from the Washington side, though.
I appreciate that very much, because on the Washington side, I could say we, because I'm over here in Klickitat County again now. We tend to get left out. News is out of Portland, and everything you see about the Columbia Gorge tends to have an Oregon orientation. It just doesn't have the visibility in Olympia. So it's really important. And
I will throw a shameless plug in. MCED did receive some funding for the Washington State Micro Enterprise Association. And so we are hosting an Access to Capital Hub Talk on April 16th in Bingen. That will be unique to Washington. Tessa Bodish from the Washington SBDC is going to be joining me to talk about some Washington-specific opportunities. But that will be at the Garage in Bingen on April 16th at 5:30.
Right on Highway 14. Is there a link? You put several links in the chat.
I may not have provided that link, but I can pull it up and drop it. I kind of kept it to the Dalles and Wasco County, but yeah, let me pull that up and I'll drop it
just in case. And of course, we have a Oregon airport located in the state of Washington at Dallasport. That's always a fun fact to throw out there. Other questions for Jacob? Come on, folks. I'm not the only one asking questions here. All right, I'll throw out another one then. You mentioned early on, Jacob, that drone inventor UAS with an agricultural focus. Is that person connected with the ag tech program that's being developed at the college? Because a lot of that has to do with remote sensing, right along the lines of what you're talking about, robotics, field robotics, things like that. And it's early. They've brought on, I think they're still looking for a faculty member to lead it up. It's grant funded. It took a setback thanks to the current administration in DC. I won't go into that one, but I think they've been able to rebound. So I'm just kind of curious if there might be a connection there.
I don't think that there's a connection. He separately was kind of a enthusiast. Got his I think is the 209 uh drone piloting license separately as just someone who liked to do this. Realized some of the capabilities that he could do with his camera and some artificial intelligence software of land surveying. And so he kind of put together an idea, had run some local tests with some orchardists, and they're like, hey, this is amazing. So he was able to purchase another drone with some of the funding that he got through McKed's loan program, um, and has continued from there. I nerd out and love seeing anything that is happening there. I don't believe he's connected, but I if anyone's interested, I try to push them to some of the amazing resources that we have up at the community college for that reason. I Not everyone loves drones use in the Department of Defense, um, although there's a lot of money there. There's a lot of dual use, and the future of agriculture and production, especially for us, can really help support jobs, increase profit for our farmers, especially when labor is hard to find. So I'm a big proponent. I could pontificate on that for a while, but I won't.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, let's see, folks. Do we have, first off, one more opportunity for questions from Jacob? Then we could always go into other updates that we might not have thought about. Phil, go ahead.
No, I'm a candidate here, and so I get asked, what can I do to make the region more attractive for businesses? And my response is, make it more livable. How would you answer that question from a high level work, from a government?
Yeah, that is a wide question as well of how to connect to that. What does more livable mean? I feel like, especially at a county level, and this is partly personal and partly professional, is that we're taking the right steps. It's just keeping moving, inspiring people to say, "Hey, there are a lot of things that are moving in the right direction in the Dalles and in the Gorge." I am cautiously optimistic that at a state level, with some of the taxing decisions, there are trying to respond to the fact that large corporations, which bring income into our state, are leaving in droves is an overstatement, but they are leaving. We see Dutch Bros moving out of Grants Pass. We see Intel opening headquarters in other places. We lose a few of these anchors in the state, and the state will hurt. And so, creating an environment that is more fertile ground for businesses is usually, um, a regional, a county level decision, but anything to do to increase how great it is here. I think it's less of a um, community level or a county level decision, and more of a community level decision where we can continue to support each other, to support other small businesses, to buy local, to highlight the opportunities that we do have, support our schools, make sure that people find it as a place that they want to live. So yeah, that was a non-answer, but keep doing the things that we're doing, communicate them well. I love the Gorge. It's just a beautiful place that I didn't know about 15 years ago. So um, love every day.
Misa, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a question, as a work source partner, when you're working with up and coming businesses, are you referring them to WorkSource? Because we do work with a lot of people looking for work. We also have the ability to provide training funds. And so, Are you communicating, like if a business comes to you and says, we're having trouble doing this or this, if it's something that we can help with at WorkSource, we might have like if they're finding there's a skill deficit somewhere, we could perhaps start sending some of our folks through those specific trainings so that we know that we're building a pipeline that will be able to feed into what the local employers need.
Yes, absolutely. So if you know Susanna
Flores.
Flores,
Yeah.
she's on our advisory board
Oh,
for
good.
WorkSource purposes. So we work very closely with her.
Oh,
When
perfect.
we first implemented, the hope was there would be a lot of workforce development where these entrepreneurs are going to need to start hiring. Hasn't really been the case. Most of them are figuring out how to do it on themselves. It will be as they continue to grow, they're going to be like, hey, we need someone to help with production, to help with this facility that we're creating. And so in the first couple of years as we started it, we're dealing with very early companies. You usually start to see those hiring come, 3, 5 years. And so I hope that very soon it's going to be a like, oh man, we need more. Let's continue building this workforce and creating more and more jobs. There's been limited opportunities so far, but I very much appreciate that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I attended that resiliency event a while back, and I kept thinking, a community is only as resilient as their least resilient person. And so yeah, a lot of times we're working with people who have, potentially barriers. And so if we're all working together to kind of lift up, so, to increase the resiliency of us, as a community, that's where it's at.
Yeah, and a conversation with Susanna, it really goes two ways as well. There are a lot of people who might lose their jobs with a layoff, and they're looking for another job. We want to be able to provide them with entrepreneurship opportunities as well, because historically, statistically, you see rises in entrepreneurship when there are times of large job losses because people think, well, I don't have the gumption to make the jump on my own, but I just lost my job. Well, maybe this is the universe speaking to me. Now's the time. What are the resources I have to do that? So it's not saying one's necessarily better than the other. We need both, workforce development with large anchor institutions. We need to work to create those. I think the best case win scenario for the hub would be an entrepreneur creates a new industry that has, an invention or service that ends up being a large employer that gains an investment from outside, brings an influx of cash into our economy, and creates lots of jobs. That's the gold standard in the win. So we continue to move towards that.
Fantastic.
One point of where things I think of kind of connecting in this presentation, Phil, you had asked about barriers, and a little bit earlier, you and Jacob both mentioned the fact that Basalt Commons is moving forward. When I was with the college and with the city, I talked with companies all over the gorge. What are the barriers? Affordable housing and affordable childcare, two of the biggest ones to recruit, retain. So that's a win. Basalt Commons going forward. Let's keep an eye on it. Other questions for Jacob? All right, I might be giving you back 6 minutes of your day then, unless there are any strenuous objections to that idea. Let's get on with the week, folks. It's been a good presentation. Thank you for joining us, Jacob. Thank you for a fantastic, informative presentation on Pitch Fest and the Innovation Hub, and I love the fact that you're working across the river.
Yeah, thank you
thank
all
you.
so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Everyone, take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next Thursday. Same time, same place. Take care. Bye now.